Well, Joe Sixpack, it's been a fun day of drinking beer in York, Pennsylvania.
Not so fast, Glenn. We got 3 more breweries to go.
Wow, he's Joe Sixpack. I'm Glenn Mack now. By the way, General, thanks for holding my beer. This is the part 2 of our tour of York, Pennsylvania breweries right here on What's Brewing.
What's Brewing, brought to you in part by Monco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board, download the app, and by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.
This season, stay up, stay out, stay wild, stay cool, and stay together, because you don't have to go far to get away. Book your stay and receive offers of up to $250 at these premier attractions.
Make your day golden with a smooth, refreshing Yuengling Golden Pilsner. From America's oldest brewery, created by Yuengling's newest generation. It's a refreshing take on Pilsner. For a refreshing take on what's to come. Make your day golden. Yuengling Golden Pilsner.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing with noted beer authority Joe Sixpack. I'm Glenn Mack. Now we are in York, PA with Glenn Smith, the founder of the York County Ale Trails. You know, thank you so much for hosting us. We had a great time last week. We're here again today. What are we going to be seeing today?
Well, we have 3 more great breweries for you this time around. We're going to be stopping at Mudhook. We're going to be stopping at Gift Horse, and then we're going to be stopping at Liquid Hero. And all 3 of them individually are just outstanding breweries with a lot of great brews.
The thing we've been surprised at so far has been the variety of beers that we've come across here. Do these guys in this town, are they competing against each other? Are they trying to show each other that they can make beer better, or are they working together? How's it going here?
That's a great question, because just in the city alone, we've got 6 breweries in a 1.1 square mile radius. That's a lot of beers, all in the same spot, right? But these guys actually work hand in hand. They have most recently done a collaboration. It's called the York City 6. And they had volume 1 out just this past year, and the proceeds went to, I believe it was the York City Police Department. Okay. And so the next version should be coming out shortly, and we're not sure who that's going to be going to, but we think it might actually be going to York County veterans.
That's
so
great.
What they've done is they each have somebody from their brewer, from the brewery, get together, and they collectively brew a beer at one of the facilities, and then they rotate through it.
All right, Joe Sixpack, before we get on the bus and start visiting around, I told you last week a couple of good facts about York, Pennsylvania. I'm going to give you a little bit more. Glenn, pay attention. You may learn something too.
I appreciate that.
York is called the City of White Roses. Do you know why?
I don't know. Is that a local drink?
No. No, that's 4 roses. No. And I thought it was because they grow white roses here. It's not. It's because it is the symbol of the House of York in England, so they got it after that. So that's fun fact number 1.
I did not know that.
Number 2 is a better fact, okay? York is known for several products that used to be made or still made here. You've heard of York barbells.
Barbells, exactly.
Obviously, apparently Glenn's worked out with those more than us. But the other thing that York is known for, one of my favorites, the York Peppermint Pattie, which, to be honest with you, I've been eating these here. Here's for you.
All right.
For you. Actually, I'm stealing a little bit.
That's okay.
I always thought, it did sound English to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that the York Peppermint Pattie is originally from York, PA. It's now owned by Hershey, which leads me to ask you, and you, Glenn, we've seen beers made with all kinds of things, with every kind of fruit and grain and coffee and chocolate. This is a beer that's modeled after a breakfast cereal, right? Anybody ever make a good peppermint beer? I don't think I've ever had a mint beer.
I have actually.
God, this is such a good candy bar.
Actually sort of modeled on this, sort of the peppermint chocolate kind of beer. I've had some stouts made out of it. Southern Tier makes one. I've had a couple others over the years. It's sort of a weird thing. You wouldn't think it would be particularly good. It did actually work. Dessert beer, basically.
Okay, I would try it. All right, before we hit the trail and see our 3 places today, it is time for the update. in our IPA brew down. Is it starting to get pretty serious?
It is. We had a couple one close matchup and one blowout in this week. In the Mythical Beast category, which is the category where we see the beers that people are willing to stand in line for, Hill Farmstead up in New England beat their Double Galaxy, beat Founders Double Trouble, which is sort of like an old school double IPA.
Wow, that's a surprise. Founders, such a popular brewery.
55 to 45%. And in the go-to brews category, which is the category where these are beers that are almost always on the shelf that you may not think about, but are quite good. This is where we saw a huge blowout of Stone and Joy by IPA from California, basically kicking butt against Southern Tier's Unearthly, 67 to 33%.
Surprise to me too.
It was.
People around here like Southern Tier.
Yeah.
All right, if you want to follow us, vote on those, you should check us out, our social media pages. On Twitter, I'm at Real Glenn Mack now. He is at Beer Radar. Glenn Smith, we're going to head out with you and go check the trail again.
Fantastic.
All right, we'll be doing that momentarily right after this on What's Brewing.
I'm Joe Sixpack. I love beer and I love travel. I've visited great breweries around the world, and I'm inviting you to join me on my next expedition to France. Yes, they make beer in France. We'll travel the Seine on a luxury river cruise from Paris to Normandy. We'll visit breweries, explore the sights, drink great beer, and maybe some wine. Join me in October 2020. Just visit my website at phillybeerworld.com. Let's discover a world of beer together.
Welcome back to What's Brewing as we continue our tour through York, Pennsylvania, having a great time. We're now at the Mudhook. Kathy Lau operates this with her brother, Jeff Lau. First of all, let's talk about the name, the Mudhook. I'm not a fisherman. Tell me about it.
Well, Jeff capitalized on on something he enjoys, and that was fishing. Mm-hmm. But he also wanted to be an anchor in the Central Market. So they didn't necessarily want to use an anchor, so they researched another name, came up with Mudhook.
And you guys have been around since 2010, which makes you one of the first to open, maybe the first.
We were the first.
You were the first brew pub in this area. You do terrific stuff. It's a beautiful building. You're telling me when this building dates back to when?
1870.
Wow. That's really something. How did the building start?
It started out as the Market Street got its name from the open air market that was out there, and they wanted to bring that indoors and decided to build the Central Market. They had shipbuilders from Baltimore come and create the building, which is like the bottom of a ship.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We're going to take a tour of the building in just a moment and see some of that market, but let's talk about the beer first. Kathy, you have 10 beers on tap, a really nice selection of different beers. Now, I've got this stout beer, the Whiskey Barrel Aged Stout, but there is a story behind this. Tell me about that.
As everyone knows, there were 2 firefighters killed in a fire last year. We wanted to honor them, and Jeff came up with the idea, along with the wives of the firefighters, to come out with a beer, and each one of those beers that is sold, $1 gets sent to the firefighters, the Fallen Firefighters Fund.
That's terrific. All right, so I'm thinking everybody come in here to the Mudhook. By the way, great jug. Get one of these fine beers, one of their other terrific beers, and enjoy, and you're doing something good for a great cause.
Yeah.
So terrific. All right, so now we're going to take you out to the market. Joe Sixpack and Glenn Smith are going to take a little tour of this great market here in York.
All right, Glenn, so we just walked out of the Mudhook Brewery and into this wonderland, big room of food and treats. Where are we at here?
This is an amazing place. It's York Central Market. It's one of the oldest continuously run markets in the entire country. It dates back to the late 1800s, and it was actually built by a bunch of shipbuilders. If you take a look at the architecture, it kind of looks like you're in a ship's hall, but that's just the architectural part of it. What I like most is the vendors that we have here. York County prides itself on its farmland. In fact, this county has the second most conservated farmland in all of Pennsylvania. So we have a lot of our farmers here with produce and goods straight from the farm.
It's spectacular. It reminds me a lot of the Reading Terminal Market, or there's a market like this in Lancaster.
That's right.
Just a gorgeous place, and just the architecture is beautiful. Are we sneaking the beer in here, or do they normally let you in here?
Probably, but don't tell anybody, okay?
Okay.
But
right.
Perfect example, cheese, milk, directly from the farm. You're not getting this at the store. You're getting that right here at Central Market.
It's great. Well, it is a real treasure here in York, and I'm so glad that I looked out the back door there at Mudhook, because I didn't realize that we were so close to such a great place.
It's uniquely situated. I'm not personally aware of any other brewery directly connected to a market. So you can, on one hand, have a wonderful beer at the brewery, and then come outside and have a treat. You can have a freshly made cookie, or you can get beef jerky straight from the farmer, and there's wonderful sandwiches, there's items, we have wood carvers, different types of artisans that are giving all kinds of goods here. So it's a wonderful little treat to stop in at.
Well, what a great spot on our way on our tour today. Where are we headed next to, by the way? Can you remember?
Oh boy, I think next stop is a place called Gift Horse. It's one of our newest brewers in town. He's not new from a brewing perspective. He's been brewing for years, but his establishment is one of the most recent openings that we have in York County. They're making some really good beer.
Well, we'll rejoin Glenn Mack now there, back after this with What's Brewing.
Cheers.
Make your day golden with a smooth, refreshing Yingling Golden Pilsner. From America's oldest brewery, created by Yingling's newest generation. It's a refreshing take on Pilsner. For a refreshing take on what's to come. Make your day golden. Yingling Golden Pilsner.
Hi, it's Glenn Mack now. You've seen some of our Conshohocken Brewing Company spots on this show, so I'd like to invite you to come and check them out. You can find us in Conshohocken, Bridgeport, Phoenixville, King of Prussia, and here in Havertown, where I'm enjoying an award-winning Puddler's Row right now. It's one of our year-round core beers, along with Type A IPA and user-friendly Blonde Ale. We've also got exciting seasonal beers, like Blood Money IPA, Philly Vice, and our Unfiltered IPA series. And come hungry. From burgers and wings to salads and small bites, there's something for everyone. Don't leave without trying the amazing cheese curds. The warm weather is here, so you can enjoy yourself on one of our outdoor spaces. And good news, you can find Conshohocken beers at grocery stores, distributors, and restaurants throughout PA, South Jersey, and Delaware. So get yourself to Conshohocken Brewing Company. I'll meet you at the bar.
This season, stay up, stay out, stay wild, stay cool, and stay together, because you don't have to go far to get away. Book your stay and receive offers of up to $250 at these premier attractions.
Welcome back to What's Brewing. Glenn Mack now, Joe Sixpack. We are at Gift Horse Brewing Company, one of York's, another of York's great brew pubs, here with Jason Snyder, co-owner, head brewer. Before we even talk about anything, tell us what we're drinking here, Jason.
Well, my friend, you have Day at the Races IPA.
Okay.
It's a nice West Coast session IPA. We
Beautiful.
use citrus, Centennial, and Cascade hops in
How did
that
you pick an IPA once again?
I always do. Come on, you know what I like.
Pick an IPA.
Okay, Joe, what's he got?
He has our Downtown Brown Ale, which is now called our Triple Crown Brown. It's a nice English-style brown ale.
Brown ale, easy drinking, got a little bit of roasted malt in there, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
But really easy drinking. I like this beer. Good job.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
All right, there's a theme going on here, right, with the Triple Crown and everything in the name of the place, Gift Horse. Give us the roots of it, the horse racing aspect of it.
Well, it's not necessarily horse racing so much as it would be, we did all of our pilot brewing at my mother and father-in-law's horse farm in Loganville, Pennsylvania. So as we're brewing, we're surrounded by like horse puns, and it's really tough not to settle on a horse-related name when like you're surrounded by horses every day.
That's working, and the cans are great. So.
Appreciate that.
Oh, nay. No, sorry.
Thank you for the horse pun.
So tell us a little bit about the brewery itself. How big of a brewery are you? This is a small space here. You got, maybe 20, 25 seats in here.
We actually have 50.
Okay. Really?
Our brew house, we brew on a 5-barrel Brewix brew house. We have 3 10-barrel fermenters, which we double batch into, and then we have 2 4-barrel fermenters that we save for seasonal beers and one-offs, whatever I think of at any time of the week kind of thing.
And you're big enough to be canning some of your beers as well.
Yeah, we have a cask canning line. I wouldn't necessarily say it's big, but it does give us enough beer to sell products to go out of our brew house to our customers.
Okay, a couple things I want to get to. One, we haven't eaten all day, Joe Sixpack. And Jason was nice enough to make for us, I'm going to bring this out here. What do we have here? Because it smells unbelievably great.
In your hands, you have the Gnawjaw Bacon Bowl. It is a thick-cut pork belly.
Indeed it is.
1/3 of a pound.
Yes.
We pair it with sriracha, chocolate sauce, barbecue sauce, and honey for your dipping pleasure.
I got to go with the
You
chocolate
going with
here.
the chocolate?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to see if you survive
Nothing
before
like
I try that.
a bacon bowl.
A bacon bowl and bacon and chocolate is, 2 of the great things ever.
That's
Pretty
pretty
good?
darn good.
Pretty
yes.
good, okay.
My feeling on is if you're going to do it simple, do it delicious.
Oh, it really is. That is great.
We'll take a break now while we
No.
munch down here on our bacon.
We're good. We got to keep working.
And if you guys want to be alone with the bacon, we can arrange that later.
One of the other things, amazingly, Joe Sixpack and I were talking earlier today, and I said, I've never had a mint beer because we had a York Peppermint Pattie to celebrate coming to York. You've had them, Joe. I have not. Lo and behold, I look at the menu here.
Yeah, we walk in.
Behind Jason, there's a mint chocolate stout. I got to try it, Jason.
All right. This is our mint chocolate stout.
Oh, this is good.
It's a beer that we've made for quite a while. We use peppermint and chocolate cocoa nibs, and
Okay.
it's I like to consider it deceptively refreshing for a stout.
I'm skeptical, but,
Let's give it a shot. Go for it.
smells good. You know what? That's really nice. And the chocolate is a background flavor. In it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't overpower.
So it works as a beer. And the mint doesn't off-put
I don't
you.
know. Let me try it again. Yeah, it's good because, again, the mint is subtle, the chocolate is subtle. I'm drinking beer. Part of my problem when we sometimes talk about beers that have unusual flavors is I'm tasting the flavor, I'm not tasting the beer.
Sure. That's one of the things that we try to do here. Mint chocolate isn't necessarily a style, but I'm all about subtle. So I don't want to overpower you with one or the other. It's kind of how they meld together and work together kind of in harmony that I really appreciate.
I'm really surprised I like it. I do. I like it, Joe.
And that leads to me an obvious question. What does York think of these kinds of beers? Some peach beer, a chocolate mint beer. What does this town think of your flavors?
Well, I mean, we've been pretty blessed. We've been open for almost 8 months now. We've had great feedback. That being said, we've been doing like a grassroots tasting kind of tour for the past 5 years to hone in our styles, what people like. So far, so good.
What do you mean by a grassroots tasting tour? What, you going out and tasting beer, or?
Well, I've tasted plenty of beer.
Yeah.
But, as far as serving gift horse beers at beer festivals locally, birthday parties, we've been to bar mitzvahs, we've done things, like serve beer at people's business openings or whatever.
idea is born.
And you're already ready to expand, it seems.
Absolutely. So we're actually getting ready to focus on our beer garden for this summer. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it. Our customers seem excited about it. The city seems excited about it, and I really can't ask for much more.
It's really quite the brewing scene here. You working with any of the other brewers?
Absolutely. The other 5 breweries in York, We all get together as much as possible, which, we're all busy, so it's kind of tough to schedule things. But we all get together. We do what we call our York City 6 collaboration. We've done one last November. We're actually planning one here for early May. And we always focus on a charity to give a portion of the proceeds to.
So this will be aired in May, so it's good advice for our viewers. Head on out to York, hit these bars or breweries that we've had, but look for that collaboration beer too.
And look for this mint chocolate stout here at Gift Horse Brewing. We got one more stop before we get to hit the road. We're going to take a break, come back next. We'll be there on What's Brewing.
I'm Joe Sixpack. I love beer and I love travel. I've visited great breweries around the world, and I'm inviting you to join me on my next expedition to France. Yes, they make beer in France. We'll travel the Seine on a luxury river cruise from Paris to Normandy. We'll visit breweries, explore the sights, drink great beer, and maybe some wine. Join me in October 2020. Just visit my website at phillybeerworld.com. Let's discover a world of beer together.
Well, Joe Sixpack, we are back for our final stop of the day on our visit of the historic York Ale Trail, and we are here at the Liquid Hero Brewery, 30 East North Street in York, with Matt DiPrato, co-owner, one of the founders of this joint. Matt, before we go anywhere, what are we drinking here? What do we got?
Good beer. I have the Pilsner in front of me. You have the...
I think it's a honey.
Yep, the
something?
honey cream ale.
Uh-huh.
And you went with the...
This is the rye stout.
The rye stout,
Yes.
really smooth stout,
Yeah.
full flavored.
I have never had a honey cream ale. I grew up drinking Genesee cream ale. I know, we all start somewhere, Joe Sixpack.
Hey, why not?
So
cream ale is one of those styles that I think really only adventuresome brewers these days seem to want to tackle, because they're so used to doing IPAs and stouts and so on, and a cream ale is a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that you're making that.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
So we were talking before we came on about how you got started, and I love the story of three guys sitting around on the couch watching TV.
Yep.
Take us from there.
So it was me, my brother-in-law, and Josh, who's in the back brewing right now. We were all sitting down in Christian's basement. My
Is
brother-in-law.
the guy chained to the equipment?
He's that one, and we don't let him out too much. And we're watching the History Channel, Modern Marvels, and it was the brewing episode. And it was all about brewing, and we got really interested in it. We never brewed any beer at the time, but we thought that was a pretty cool idea. Why don't we just start brewing instead of buying beer from other
people's beer.
All right,
Exactly.
so you sit down and you're watching documentary,
Yep.
boring TV.
Exactly.
And somehow it leads you to decide to make beer.
Yeah. Well, we had some motivation, not quite as good as this, but so during the night when we were drinking, at one point, Christian looked at Josh and said, "Josh, you're my hero." And Josh looked down at his beer and said, "Beer's my liquid hero." And I was like, "That's the name of our brewing venture."
So you got the name. In 2011, you opened this place, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Which this building dates back to
1913 was a freight terminal originally.
Wow. Okay.
Cool, it's a great space.
Yeah.
You know, the brewery fits in here nicely. What do you got back here? What kind of a system? How big is it?
We have a 15-barrel high-gravity steam-fired system.
So a 15 barrel, that's got to be the largest brewery that we've seen, Glenn, on our trip here. So you're producing a good bit of beer here.
Yeah, we have a 15-barrel system with 120 barrels of fermentation capacity.
So yeah, we have the cans out here, so you are sending your beers out. It's one of the few breweries that we've visited in these 2 days that is sending their beer pretty much all throughout the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we're about half the state of Pennsylvania and now about half the state of Maryland as well.
I want to go back to your story, because I know that a lot of people who are watching kind of have this dream. Most of them, mostly, they just sit on the couch and have the dream. You guys actually did it. What was kind of the breakthrough for you? You know, the three guys saying, like, let's do it, and then you start homebrewing, and like, what made it work?
It was really, we started giving away our home brew at different microbrew fests and gaining a lot of notoriety, a little bit of a fan base. And at one point, we took a day off of our day jobs, went around to all the different properties in York City and looked for something that might fit our needs. And we found this building, made an extremely laughable lowball offer. The guy accepted, and we're like, uh-oh. I guess here it goes.
Now you're in.
Yep.
It's a big step, though, to make that. Is it all that you thought it would be?
That and more, absolutely, much more.
All right, so you got a nice menu of beers, all kinds of beers. You told me you started before the IPA craze, and that was not in your original inventory.
No, it wasn't. When we first opened, we had an American Amber Ale and a Strawberry Wheat, and that was it. The only 2 beers we had on tap on day one.
You know, and one of them, which we saw on the board, it took our sight immediately, was this beer that's in front of you, and I'm spacing on the name of Shirtless Dictator.
Correct.
Tell us. Tell us.
So it's a Russian Imperial Stout.
Naturally.
A little bit of an homage back to the guy we all know and across the sea.
So this is the Putin Beer?
Yeah.
All right, and what's the strength of this one?
10.2% alcohol. It'll get away from you a little bit. You don't taste it, but it's good. It goes
So you
down
got the
smooth.
small glass.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got a long drive home to Philadelphia. I'm not sure I'm going to finish. It's been a long day of drinking. This is a tall glass.
Right.
Here's to you guys.
Now, is that a special hat for the occasion that Glenn's wearing?
It is, to commemorate such a
this
great
is-
beer.
This is really nice.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's very
it
smooth.
is. It's very nice.
One of the few
and
beers.
it is. It's, you know, I'm expecting this thing to take my lungs out, but it's a pretty gentle beer.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, 10%, I guess it is.
And we'll put that in a bourbon barrel at times.
So one of the things that we've encountered is, among all the stops or all the brewers that we visited, is there seems to be a real good collaboration of brewers here in this town. You all sort of play well together and also work well together.
Absolutely.
What brings that about in a town where 6 breweries really competing against each other as well?
It's it's strength in numbers, and we're all doing the same thing. We're bringing people into our community, into our city, our town, to drink good beer. And without each other, we're not nearly as strong and as successful.
Well, this is one of those places. I mean, we brought the show here to York to show it off, and I think, Glenn, we could tell our viewers you definitely need to be booking a trip out here to York.
Make the trip. It's let's put it this way. It's quicker than driving to State College, right? Which everybody from Philadelphia knows that. What do you think? It's about an hour and a half?
Yeah, it was
something
pretty quick
like
right
that. And we've hit 6 breweries in one day.
Right.
And we feel all the better for it. By the way, what's cooking back there right now?
We got our Cloudification. It's a Session New England IPA in the vats right now.
Great aroma. I love the smell of malt in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, anytime.
We got to come in. Anyway, Matt, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. We want to thank you. We want to thank all of the great brewers, owners, and everybody we came. Special thanks to Glenn Smith, who runs the York Ale Trail, kind of showed us around, gave us the lead on this. And we thank you. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week on What's Brewing.
What's Brewing, brought to you in part by Monco Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board, download the app, and by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.